Simulation Football League presents the Kramer Show. Your non-stop SFL action begins now.
Thank you once again, Mike Daggs, for a lovely introduction. We are going strong here in the SFL. Things are keep on moving on. Week 6 is finally over. Heading on to Week 7, here we go. But before we get to that, let's just recap what happened with the games last week. Of course, as always, the Wildcats overcame the Storm 23-13. Queen City defeated Carolina 13-6. Atlanta is victorious over Arizona 28-16. Vancouver stays undefeated as they beat St. Louis 37-13. The Seattle Tyrants get back into the win column, beating the Fury 30-13. Mexico City reigned supreme over Denver 34-22. Sioux Falls Sparrows defeated Jacksonville 23-13. Hyenas held off the Pharaohs 23-17. And Charleston squeaked by Baltimore 16-13. This seemed like a low-scoring week for the SFL, as a lot of teams scored 13 or under 20. Because, I mean, if you look at it back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams scored 13 by the Storm, St. Louis, Las Vegas, Jacksonville, and Baltimore all scored 13 points. It was kind of odd. Maybe it was a 13-point week for teams in the SFL. I mean, it's not going to happen like that every week. I would not be surprised this coming week that it's going to be a blowout for a lot of games, or just games going back and forth, shootout style. It can easily happen anytime the SFL. Anything can change like that. If this is your first show watching the Kramer Show, you can't expect every single week that your team's going to win or a team's not going to win. Honestly, by the time with Vancouver right now, as they're undefeated, they're 6-0. I wouldn't be shocked that at some point they end up getting their first loss. I know they're playing lights out. They're playing tremendous right now. But it's very hard for a team to go undefeated throughout a season. The last team that almost did that was Denver, as they started off 7-0. That was probably the longest that I've seen personally. I don't know if that's actually in the record books or not. But it's very hard for teams to get to that stride of, okay, we're going to win every single game, because it's hard. You got a game plan. If you're brand new to this league and you don't understand how it works, well, there's actually coaches on teams that submit playbooks and they watch other games. It's not like they just put in a playbook. They need to categorize or strategize to any team that's, okay, this is what's going to happen here. They're going to run this offense. They're going to play it with this defense. So you got to adjust every single week, and Vancouver has adjusted perfectly. It's right now they're lights out, 6-0, probably going to be 7-0 by the end of this week. We'll find out by the end of this week. I mean, when week 7 ends, we'll see. So it's going to be a shocker, but week 6 is in the books finally. No guests at all this week. It was a pretty busy week on my end, so we'll have at least a few guests next week for sure. And we're going to get the Bash Brothers on at some point. So that's what's going to be coming up on here soon within the weeks of the Kramer Show. Let's get into what happened with Players of the Week-wise in the SFL, because they deserve a shout-out. They deserve, because, I mean, they had very standout-ish games. So this week, of course, the Offensive Player of the Week, I think it's his second time as Offensive Player of the Week, Sudo Nakai for the Vancouver Legion. He had 18 carries for 244 yards along with 3 touchdowns. Sudo Nakai is a beast. I believe he's a front-runner for the MVP this year. If he's not a front-runner for the MVP this year, then things need to be lined and checked. He's having an amazing career, amazing season in his short 2-year career so far. Special Teams Player of the Week with St. Louis Gladiators Chase Earl had 8 returns for 245 yards. One of those returns was a 97-yard touchdown. It's always impressive to see touchdowns scored by, opening kickoffs or even punt returns. I believe those are the most exciting plays to watch in football, and the fact that we're kind of seeing those week in and week out of the SFL, it's kind of driving. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty surreal. It's awesome, fun. Now the Defensive Player of the Week goes to Charleston Predators' Jack Hoffman, who had 7 solo tackles, 1 assisted, along with 2 interceptions. He was a big reason why the Charleston Predators squeaked by Baltimore Vultures 16-13. So those are your Offensive Player of the Week, Special Teams Player of the Week, and Defensive Player of the Week, respectable by Week 6. So Week 7, let's see who's actually going to be the Players of the Week, because it's always good to see those players. Some players deserve it more than some, I think. But, it's not up to me to pick who the Players of the Week are. If I had to vote for that, I know who I'd be voting for some weeks, and it wouldn't be some of the guys that have happened today. But, of course, Sudo Nakai deserves it. So does Chase Earl, and so does Jack Hoffman. So all these guys deserve it for this week to win special teams, player of the week, offensive player of the week, and defensive player of the week. You get it. You get the gist of it. But as I mentioned MVP a little bit earlier about Sudo Nakai, I have 2 players right now that I'm watching out for that could easily win the MVP awards for the Simulation Football League. And number 1, of course, is Sudo Nakai. He's having a tremendous season so far. 11 touchdowns, 902 yards, going on with a 7.9 yards per carry. That is ridiculous. You're going to give him the ball 2 times, they already have a first down, and all you need is you could easily run through him the entire time. I know he gets about 15 to 18 carries per game. It has 3 touchdowns with those 15 to 18 carries per game is ridiculous. He's always on pace to break off a big one anytime he gets the ball because it happens every single time. Vancouver struck gold with Sudo Nakai when they got him in his second season as tailback back there. I don't think that they're a team that was, shuffling backs before the time I got here. But ending up with Sudo Nakai is a very, very big plus for Vancouver Legion, and there's nothing he can't do. There really is nothing that Sudo Nakai cannot do. Last season, I should say, he had a lot of play, he caught the ball, passed out of the backfield. Yeah, running backs do that. But this year, that's gone down, and the more the workload on the ground has carried him up more. And I think that's what has established why Vancouver is on the 6-game winning streak. So what they're using Sudo Nakai for is great because he's projected, for me at least, to be the MVP for this season. Now, the next player who kind of had a quiet game his last game because, 1, he didn't score a touchdown, but he still had 9 receptions for, I believe, 70-some yards. Stephen Hacker, right now, 9 touchdowns for 895 yards. He's averaging at least 149 yards per game. He is a target machine, and there's no reason why that you can't say, wide receivers can't be MVPs in the league. Well, there's a very good arguable chance that Stephen Hacker could at least have one of the better seasons as a wide receiver, a season year, and that could lead to him being an MVP. You can't say that it's not possible because it easily is, and this guy is just so reliable, especially for the entire Vancouver offense. They can throw it to anybody, but the one that stands out the most is Stephen Hacker, and this guy is just tremendous. I don't know if it's because of all those touchdown games that he's had. This guy's on pace to easily get over 200 touchdowns, 20 touchdowns this season, close to probably about 2,000 yards. I would not be shocked if anything like that even happens. So there's just a lot of things going on, but those are the 2 guys to watch out for MVP-wise for the SFL. Now let's just move on to power rankings, because everybody does their power rankings. Everybody reads the power rankings of what's going on and what people are thinking of their team. But, I'm not any official at saying this. I do have at least one-little-liners when I have with all these. I'm just doing 1 to 10. That's all I'm doing, because I cannot break down all 20 teams in the SFL. I only just go with the top teams. No, Denver is not in the top 10. They should not be in the top 10, not playing it good at all. The only reason why I say that is because I'm the Denver general manager. At some point, we'll crack the top 10 at some point in the season. But we'll go down from 1 to 10. We'll start off with the top team. Of course, it's Vancouver, who's sitting at 6-0 right now. This is really easy. They're undefeated. That's the only team in the SFL that's undefeated. And if you're undefeated, you deserve to be on the top spot of the power rankings. I don't care if it's like they're 5-0, but there's a team that's 5-1 or 4-1. Go with a team that's 5-0. There's a reason why they're 5-0, because they're really good and they blow out teams. That's Vancouver for you. Number 2, Charleston Predators. I believe when I had them up there is because of their fact that they beat Baltimore by a margin of 16-13. It was an impressive win. They were also riding a quiet 4-game winning streak, and their defense, of course, I believe is one of the best, or at least a top 3 defense in the SFL. Number 3, with the Atlanta Swarm. This is a good defense. This is a good all-around defense and offense team. It's just they need to click. And I feel comfortable saying that they're the number 3. They could easily be the number 2. If I could have them tie at 2, I would have Charleston and Atlanta on there. But for my power rankings, I can't do that. So at least they're 2 and 3. So 1, 2, and 3 is done. 4, Sioux Falls Sparrows. This is nothing flashy about them. There's nothing that stands out by the Sparrows to me that this grabs me. It says, hey, the Sioux Falls Sparrows are really good. And yes, they are good, but there's nothing that just stands out to the fact that they're just a team that they get to work, they win their games, and they get done. They go home and they celebrate with their families. That's what I get out of them. They're like that blue-collar team that's like, we are going to get to the game, We're going to win, and we're going to go home because that's our job. We're going to win. That's all you need. You need to get to the game and win. Sioux Falls is doing that right now. That's why I have them at 4. Number 5, Queen City Crusaders. Only one bad thing I have seen with them, because they were shut down at some point by Denver, but they responded very well by beating Carolina. They just need to keep throwing their wide receivers. It's like that's the best thing they have for them right now is their wide receiver core. You can't say that the running back isn't that great because he's good too, but you have to think that I can rely on my wide receivers because you can. You can easily rely on any wide receiver that's in Queen City right now. That's even with Stephen Hacker. That's the big one I want to say is just throw it to Stephen Hacker. He'll catch anything. He'll catch anything and everything. Same with any other wide receiver on the team. Number 5, Queen City. Number 6, Tulsa Desperados. When you talk about quiet teams, this is one that is very, very quiet, and I have them sliding on there to 6 because I believe they're sneaky good. Number 7, Baltimore Vultures. I'm different about Baltimore right now. I'm just different and indifferent. It's just this team is just, I don't know. It's got to the point where they have a very good offense, they have a very good defense, but they have those games where it's like nothing's clicking. All right, they just make me nervous. That's why I'm at 7. Number 8, Chicago Wildcats. After losing their first 2 games, they came back and won their next 4, which have been impressive. But their defense is, I don't think it's that good. I don't know if it's that the defense isn't that great, or it's the offense not carrying up the slack as which some would say. I know their first 2 losses came by just heartbreakers. The first one was a Hail Mary that ended up winning the game for Tulsa. The second game was pretty darn close as well. But I don't know if it's their defense, their offense that is just not clicking. That's why I have them at 8. They just give, I don't know if they give too many points or they can't score that many points. That's why. Number 9, Mexico City Aztecs. All I have for them is I think they figured it out. They are on a 2-game winning streak. I think Mexico City is that team that can easily turn it on at any point in given time, and they can make a good postseason run and then lose in the postseason. That's why I think that's where Mexico City's at right now. So that's why I have them at 9. Number 10, Jacksonville Kings. This was a team that had so much promise. I thought this was a team that's like nobody's talking about them. Now this is a team that's just going to make their way there. And the last 2 games they've lost, and that's just not good for me in my aspect of ranking teams. At 10. That's what I have them. But hey, I saw them in the top 10. That's good. That's good to have it in Kramer Power Rankings right there to stay in the top 10 because you did. So once again, from 1 to 10, starting at 1, Vancouver Legion, 2, Charleston Predators, 3, Atlanta Swarm, 4, Sioux Falls Sparrows, 5, Queen City Crusaders, 6, Tulsa Desperados, 7, Baltimore Vultures, number 8, the Chicago White Sox, Chicago Wildcats, number 9, Mexico City Aztecs, number 10, the Jacksonville Kings. So that's my power rankings there. Let me know what you think about those power rankings. You can just say something to me on Discord, or you can even just comment down below on this video that's being posted up on the Simulation Football Network. Yeah, there's just a lot of things going on, and a lot of things that have gone on as roster transactions. There's a lot of people still joining into the SFL, and a lot of people have gotten one person's gotten a star contract. That's actually happened this week, but this is covering the past 2 weeks of transactions. So some teams that I'm going to read that have 2 players already signed for their teams as non-contracts. We'll just start off with the star contract that's already happened. Atlanta signed free safety Moose Papineau. So his son plays for Denver, the Papineau sons. Well, I wouldn't say sons. It's a father-son combination. Matt, Moose, they're but really good people. I actually want to try to get Moose on the show at some point. So if Moose, you're watching, talk to Matt. We're going to get things going. We're going to get things just iced up and icy, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk. Moose, this is the invitation out here if you're listening to the Kramer Show. Now, non-contracts. Arizona signed fullback Laura Horrell. Chicago signed defensive end Scott Fountain. Chicago also signed punter Mickey McGuire. Mexico City signed strong safety Starkey Savage. By the way, if I mispronounce your last name or first name, I am sorry. I'm not a wizard. I need some phonetics. So if you have a funky first or last name, need some phonetics in those names so I can pronounce them for you. St. Louis signed strong safety Chad Nevels. St. Louis also signed wide receiver Carmen Shaw. Baltimore signed wide receiver Paul Slaughter. Carolina signed free safety Mark Pachinelli. Hoodanelli. This guy's the Nelly. Carolina signed center Catherine Horrell. Denver signed wide receiver Tyson Cooper. Las Vegas signed linebacker Austin Heath. Queen City signed wide receiver Luther Gond. And Vancouver signed offensive lineman Beth Horrell. So I feel like there's a Horrell family in here. I feel like there's a lot of people that are getting in, and I feel like it's good. We're seeing a lot more women come into the league of the SFL. We have a strong core of females here, so it's nice to see there's a more influx of them coming in because this league's for anybody. Anybody and everybody is welcome to the SFL. Speaking of the SFL, they have conventions as usual, and this year's convention is in Jacksonville. As I'm going to put up the little banner I should have put up last week, or the image that is also detailing stuff. So yeah, the countdown to the convention it's already begun. July 17th to the 19th is when it is. That will be the opening weekend of season 15, which is coming up very soon. It's odd to think that right now we're in February and July is right around the corner. So it goes by quick when you're in the SFL. It really does. Hotel rates are right there. You see, the all food is included, so you got to think that's a pretty good deal with all food included. It's probably, I don't know if it's even like a bar or like not a bar. What are those things called? Like a Golden Corral, the buffets. There we go. That's I hope it's what that is. I'm not for sure if I'm going yet. I'm trying to figure out details and logistics and saving stuff because I have a lot of things planned on for my personal life. So I'm gonna try if I do not end up going, because I planned on having a Kramer Show live there. If not, I'll have to do like a Google Hangout and be like a stream thing, like how this looks like, and have everybody at the convention there, and I can interview people or just have some good times that way. But 6 live games throughout there, and also the thing that's the most prestigious is the Hall of Fame class. It's the third class to enter. It's always good to hear people talk about the SFL in a great way, and that's one of the best ones to do it because you have these guys that have been in the SFL for so long time, and they have stories. They've watched almost every single game. I feel like they've watched almost every single game. If you haven't, that's okay. But there's a lot of things there that you can do. Plus, there's also the SFL Olympics, and I don't know what that is. I feel like they're probably running a 40. It's probably honestly like the combine for SFL guys that are. I'm not going to be that guy to say it, but there's some people that are past their prime in the SFL, and they might want to get back into it, but just make sure you stretch. That's all I got to say. Make sure you stretch. Don't hurt this thing. Don't pull anything, because you have to get back to your loved ones if you're just taking like a vacation from your family to do this. So that's totally up to you. Just do not hurt yourself, but the SFL convention is coming up strong and coming up soon and coming up very, very – I wish I was going. I really do. I'm going to try to go. But do not hold me accountable to that, because I'll just be sad. I'm not going to say, I'm going to go, then not end up showing, because that's just something that I do not do. That's something that you shouldn't do either. I believe right now there's a Discord channel, and if you are not in it, make sure you reach out to Cam, or I'm pretty sure DPP might actually help you out with that as well. So just make sure you get in there, talk to them, say, hey, I'm actually going to go, so can I get in this Discord server? And they'll hook you up. So the SFL convention's coming up real soon in July, so make sure you're there, I guess. All right, we're going to wrap some things up here real soon, but of course it's Who You Got section, but not who you got, but who I got coming up. Going from top to bottom as usual. I go into the simulationfl.net, and I'm going to go down and just go from top to bottom, because the first game starting things off was the Florida Storm versus the Arizona Scorpions. Give me Florida for this one against Arizona. Next is Denver Nightwings taking on the Tulsa Desperados. I do not like going against my team, but I'm going to have to on this one. I'm taking Tulsa against Denver for that nightcap. Now going on into March. We're in the March month. It's Houston taking on Charleston Predators. Give me Charleston. London Knights taking on the Carolina Skyhawks. Carolina's offense has been lackadaisical, to say the least. Give me London for this. The St. Louis Gladiators taking on the Chicago Wildcats. Let's upset the Wildcats. Let's take St. Louis for this one. Atlanta Swarm taking on the Seattle Tyrants. I'll go Atlanta. Mexico City taking on the Queen City Crusaders. This might be my game of the week to go for. And the way that Mexico's been playing, I'll give you Mexico City. The New Orleans Pharaohs taking on the Sioux Falls Sparrows. The Pharaohs versus the Sparrows. Give me the Sparrows on this one. Vancouver Legion taking on the Las Vegas Fury. I don't see Vancouver losing this one, so give me Vancouver. Then rounding things off is the Baltimore Vultures taking on the Jacksonville Kings, and give me Jacksonville this week. I don't see Baltimore winning, and it's get Jacksonville back on the winning side of the program. So that will do it for this edition of the Kramer Show. If you made it this far, please like this, share it to a friend, share it to anybody you think would be interested in the SFL. If you do not know what the SFL is and want to join the SFL, check out Simulation Football. Well, not even Simulation Football. SimulationFL.net. That's SIMULATION. FL.net to go there, and then you can just join the Discord server from right there. So when you do join the Discord server, and if you have watched this, say, oh, the Kramer Show brought me, because that gives me some cred right there. That gives me some cred. Plus, also, if you have not listened to the Ashley Jackson podcast, please check those out as well, because she is probably one of the best, well, no, she is the best podcast host out there. I like to say I am, but I'm not. I'm just a guy that likes to talk. That's all I am. This has been the Kramer Show. Thanks for listening.